Whether you've been playing guitar for 20 years or 20 minutes, you've probably come across one of these. The Fender Telecaster. The Telecaster is a classic guitar with a ton of versatility. Has sparkly, spanky cleans and really rich, warm drive tones. It can really do it all. And unless you're getting an expensive knockoff, these guitars are actually really reasonably priced. But between you and me, I gotta tell you something. I wasn't a fan of these guitars until about 2-3 years ago. So let's back it up to my early days of playing guitar. I wanted to play guitar like what I heard in Led Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses, Switchfoot. It's kind of funny putting Switchfoot in that list, but it is true for me. I love that big guitar sound that's typically associated with Gibson Les Pauls. So to me, the Telecaster kind of seemed like a wimpy knockoff. Even the body shapes are similar, but in my head I was like, that's just an ugly version of the Les Paul. Now bear in mind, I was like 16 years old and I had just started to play guitar. So that was that. I pretty much wrote off the Telecaster right out of the gate and said, it's Les Paul or die. As I continued with guitar, my taste in music changed, and also the style of music I was playing changed. I found myself heavily involved in the church worship scene, and if you're from that world or you know anything of it, Fender guitars are everywhere. Whether it's the price point that makes it more accessible or just that legendary clean Fender tone, worship guitarists flock to this thing. And like I mentioned in my Why Guitarists Are Getting Rid of Their Amps video, I didn't want to ever be like any other worship guitarist. So that was strike two and I wrote off Telecasters again. Even more time passes and my taste is continuing to change. I'm getting into country music, I'm playing on more pop gigs, and now I'm starting to understand, oh, the Telecaster maybe doesn't sound like crap. And not just that, but I'm actually starting to like it. Just like I hope you'll like this video if you're having a good time. I realized the Telecaster wasn't just some like worship clean machine. No. It was much more versatile than that. In fact, it's arguably the most versatile guitar. The body style is comfortable and practical and classic looking. And depending on your pickups and where you choose to pick the strings, you can get a wide range of tone from that neck pickup to the bridge. And finally, Fender guitar tone is very trendy right now. And as I'm sure some of you could either guess or just know, if you want to get the gig, you gotta be able to make the sounds people want to hear. And yes, I am referring to that sort of 80s clean Strat Telecaster sound with a lot of chorus. You've heard it all over the 1975 records. But even with all these compelling reasons to join the Telecaster train, I still couldn't pull the trigger. I think at the time, most American Telecasters were like $1,200 to $1,400, which is incredibly reasonable for the quality of guitar you're getting. But to me, I felt like I don't want to spend that much money just to have a trendy sound. I also had a sneaking suspicion that because I didn't enjoy playing on my Stratocaster, even though it is just a Fender Mexican Strat, I figured the same logic would apply and I would also not enjoy playing on a Telecaster. Like, how different could those two guitars really be? Spoiler alert, the answer is a lot. They're a lot different. Finally, in the last couple years, I've been working for a music director who is somewhat of a legend in the guitar sideman world, and he plays almost entirely Telecasters. It honestly seems like he has 20 of them, and counting. One day I'm working with him at his home studio, and he says, hey, let's take a guitar break. I've got this Danocaster Telecaster, and I think it's one of the best guitars I've ever had. Check it out. And that's saying something, because the dude has a lot of old legendary guitars. So I play this thing, and I was floored. I didn't even know a Telecaster could sound like that. It wasn't all thin and ratty. No, it was rich and warm and distorted. And then when you roll it back, it had that country twangy clean sound. It was pure magic. That was the moment it clicked. I need to get a Telecaster, but not just any Telecaster. No. I needed a $5,000 Telecaster. Psh, yeah, right. I wasn't ready to fork out that much money on a better version of a Fender Telecaster. But I am lucky because I had an ace in the hole. So I got this friend who loves building Fender guitars, and I hit him up and was like, hey, is this a project you would be interested in taking on? Lucky for me, he said yes, and the process began. And let me tell you, it was a process. There are so many small things that go into a guitar and affect the tone, you know, ever so slightly that, man, it was so much to get through and figure out. Things I've never thought about in my years of playing guitar, such as, should I get staggered height tuners or standard height tuners? What kind of bridge do I want on the guitar? What material should the saddles be made out of? What capacitor should I get? What kind of wires do I need to get? There's just so much minutia that goes into making a guitar. So once again, I was lucky to have a friend guide me because I wouldn't even know what half the stuff is or what it does. But that's only the first part. Once you figure out all the stuff you need, then you need to pick the actual versions of the things you want, and then you have to go source them. So you gotta search through the nethers of eBay, reverb.com, sweetwater.com, all that, and just try to procure all the pieces you need to make your dream guitar. But let me tell you, it was worth it. If you ever have the chance to build a guitar for yourself, you have to do it. There's something so special about having an instrument that is crafted to your needs, your tastes, and honestly, who really cares about resale value? You're building this guitar for you. This is a lifetime guitar. So my guitar essentially ended up being a Fender Telecaster with different pickups. Most of the aesthetics were actually decided by my wife and I. I wanted her to have a lot of input. I ended up naming this guitar after her. This is Nissa. Yeah, we went through so many color choices. I was pretty sure I wanted Sonic Blue, and then I got cold feet on that, and then I wanted cream, but I couldn't really find a cream, and I still wasn't sure because I thought maybe that would be boring over time because I wanted a bright color initially. So then I went to yellow, and that only lasted like a week, and then thank God I saw this surf green, and I was like, that's the thing, it's gotta be that. I've been happy with it ever since. This pick guard is actually an off-white color. I think it's eggshell. Just wanted it to look more vintage, and then we did end up doing a 5-screw pick guard instead of the 8 like the newer ones have. This took me a while to get used to. I thought it looked wrong without 8, so if you're having that thought, I've had it too. I do agree this is maybe a cleaner look, and it does match the vintage style I was hoping to achieve with this. The neck is really cool. See if you can tell here, but this is the Fender channel bound neck. So they've actually inlaid the rosewood into the maple, and it gives it that effect of binding. But the sides don't quite look like binding, but from the top up it definitely looks like binding. I just love the way it looks. It's such a rare thing. I think I've only seen it on a couple Telecasters and on the internet even, not even in person. It plays great, it feels great. The shape of the neck is really smooth and comfortable. I love that. These are Elliott Telewhacker pickups. I thought the Elliott Telecaster style guitars sounded phenomenal. I did originally want to get Bud's pickups, like what they put in the Danocasters, but I'm not sure that site's up yet again, so I couldn't really order them. But I'm really happy with these. They sound amazing. It's very rich and full in the bridge position, and then you get that bell-like clarity you'd expect from a Tele here. It has this gold foil over the neck pickup, which gives it another unique look. I wasn't totally into it at first, and now I totally love it. I think it matches the whole aesthetic. It also matches the brass saddles, which is cool. And then one last little doodah, we did a version of Fender S1 switching, so you can actually push this in here, and that puts these two pickups in parallel. Just gives you another sound that I never use. I really thought I was going to use it a bunch, but I never use it. But hey, it's cool that it has it. In addition to that guitar just being one that I helped create, there's something cool about it being not just any other Fender Telecaster. Even my friend who assembled it told me when he gave it the first test run to make sure it was working, he was like, dude, this thing sounds so good. And I've been stopped a bunch of times about it, and it's fun to be able to tell the story of like, oh, I actually helped build this guitar and whatnot. Since having this guitar, it's become my go-to guitar for the past year. I've used it on anything from playing at church to recording for arrangements and productions. I've even brought it on about to be 3 tours now. This thing is awesome, and I completely understand the Telecaster love. I am a Telecaster lover now too. If you're new to guitar, you should definitely consider a Fender Telecaster. This thing will morph with you as you go through different genres and you learn new things. And if you're a guitar veteran and you don't have a Telecaster like I did, don't be a holdout. I don't think you're gonna be upset. I love this thing, couldn't be happier with it. And yeah, I just think every guitarist needs a Telecaster, honestly. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to comment below and tell me if you're also a Telecaster lover, if you have one. Like the video, check out some more on this channel, and I will catch you next time.